Amish. So, and then I can do whatever I want with it. It works out. So we're going to start with poems from the book. Probably, maybe get to that little stack there, and then maybe end with more poems from the book. Thank you all for coming. So many wonderful, familiar faces. Some folks that I haven't seen in a while, including Jennifer herself, which we were just talking. We haven't seen each other in a decade. So anyway, I'm gonna actually start off with the first poem because I feel like the first poem in a book or in anything should be like the first song on an album. All the titles out of the book are like a word / a word. Maybe if folks don't know this, I guess I should explain. From a card catalog I found while I was supposed to be working at the University of Iowa Library. I was wandering around. Jennifer, my wife Jennifer, says I shouldn't mention that I wasn't working, but I wasn't working. I'm not going to lie to people. Should have been working, I was not. Anyway, so I found this card catalog, it was abandoned, and they had all these crazy drawer titles, and so I wrote them down, and then about a week later, Iowa City flooded, and the card catalog was gone. Mm-hmm. So, I guess it's about all those things. So, the first poem is Clustered / Brain. After so many feet of rising water, what isn't tied up in resistance is tied up in facts. My favorite airbrush is napalm. The hours and the war, all massacres postponed. This national plant is eroding into skeletons and aspartame. No one's angle is their own, and I'm grinding salt into your shoulders. The print negatives are grazing color. Some of the titles are hilarious, and I'm mostly reading this one for the title, but obviously I think it's a fine poem, but the title's hilarious, which is Ritual Abstinence. A consciousness is unprepared to be crushed into dust. I didn't want to torture my skin like that. My new skin plummeting, and the discography is paint. Universes are bullet-riddled and glorious, but where do they go? To gaze at milk, to hold out for more splinters. Washing the dashboard, I found teeth and a pair of pine needles. Trouble is the only word I can type with arrhythmia. I saw a clavicle represented by a two-tongue catastrophe, and the lights kept buzzing to the room below. The grates were holding the streets together. I'm pretty sure I don't follow. So the structure of the book comes from a film called Print Generation. And that's basically all I know about it, except for that the film is about 50 minutes long. And what the guy did was he filmed a 1-minute shot of a car kind of coming around a bend. And then he copied it 25 times. And so you start in total blackness, and you keep watching this 1 minute over and over again. And it sort of develops this picture, and then it gets to the 25th minute, and it goes back the other way. So you're learning all sorts of new things. Anyway, great film, if you can find it. Very tough to find, but I was a film student once. So this one's called Delivery Commodity. Crimes of humanity is how the riot starts, and this is the decade we are in. I have the slow nitrates of Easter, and the handles are going to come off. Every surface feels like this one before it was sticky. This one is called Constitutional Bound. As am I. Try. That's the way these things end up. Barking and hysterical, and the lights went on for you, and the lights went out for me. It was a digital boy, and where light wears on for you, it's disgusted of me. You'll notice the poems are really short. I don't write a lot of long poems, mostly because about 8 minutes in or so, I'm out. That's it. If the poem's not working in 8 minutes, forget it. Another funny title, Fisted Pleasure. We're all adults. Okay. I can only peel myself away. All this sand has to rush somewhere again. Once in the bushes beaten steel. What the reading ended up being, what the rain said to the cast. The gift was so we would become safety deposits. Another really important aspect of this is the only thing I could really find out about this card catalog was that it was maybe used for a film strip collection. And I see most of you are old enough to hopefully know what a film strip is. For those of you that are too young to know what a film strip is, it was that horrible thing in like second grade where there would be like a little film and you'd put it on this reel and it would project. There was a projector built in. And there'd be a tape recorder, either separate or in the same machine. And people getting the sound, there'd be this horrible beep. And inevitably, the person who got the job of turning the film strip would fuck it up. And the teacher would be like, "You're supposed to turn it." So anyway, I tried to get a lot of the language of film strips in here because to hear that it was a film strip collection that somebody had, it just blew my mind. So this one's called Gratitude Intention. Turn it. Next, you're missing the beeps. This was Johnny Appleseed. I don't believe you in primordial couch surfing. There's a natural stop. Just turn it now. This one's called Desirous Actions, which I feel is a lot more dirty than some of the other dirty titles. But welcome to my hyperstability. I haven't built this bridge for migration. My balance belongs in a zoo. The land has been salted so we can maintain the imbalance. All diseases vetted, our Kansas is this ache. This one's untitled and is at the center of the manuscript. Do you always get those poems in class? The untitled poem for the students? Sorry. They're going to, I have to, some other sense is another, this is the worst birth you've ever had. I believe it was the garbage man who told me about Karnataka. Memory stings are wasting. I knew this is where they put it. I cannot become, and I am. This is how the sidewalk ends. This is how the sidewalk. This is not to know, but to do. And I saw the furious marigold studs, Mars on point to Venus. You think you're so goddamn funny, and satire is something sinking. Treasure, get inoculated. This is that amnesty and a ribbon in her hair. Teams of privateers, there's a word I used to call my own, something like honoria metacognitive. I'm gonna hop over to... the weirdest thing that I realized in proofreading this and writing this at the same time is that I seem to be obsessed with water. And I don't know why. I've never had any near-death experiences or anything like that related to water, drowning. I'm not a strong swimmer. So anyway, these are some new things. I'll read a couple of them and then go back. So this is called Milk Thistle. Went into the river clean and came out with one eye damaged. You told me there was time now, but heard it differently. I cannot hear any of you as the screamings of the mind have made ears of new ghosts. It's not the words that are hollow, but the voice behind it, ready to be something other than deceived. I think I would have just printed the ones that I want. This one's called Zero Graphic Technology. The frag grenade takes nothing it doesn't already have. As the lights went out, the last scream in the place was everyone's but mine. I listen to a lot of NPR, as I imagine a lot of you do. Maybe not all of you. Anyway, did anyone hear this thing on Radiolab about people who are going deaf starting to hear music that their brain is somehow producing, and like they think they're hearing it, but it's like actually their brain creating music? If you haven't heard it, it's fascinating and terrifying at the same time. So this is called Grace. This song is my brain screaming back at me, the unconsciousness's attempt at playing back a memory tied to new terrors. Without antecedent, there is only generation. So I'm gonna butcher the title of this, which I know is weird because it's my own title, but it's Zukunftsangst, which is future panic, and I thought it sounded cooler in German. I think it does. But I think the manuscript is going to be called Future Panic because I don't want anyone thinking I'm trying to be cool. Right? See? Clever, right? Distance deceives us while teasing distortion. A folding in of time which binds the ends of our words into new aggressions. In the mix, listen for an unusual echo which never washed away. Panic undoes us, turns our eyes into their new own refractions, leaving us to twist the tiniest of lenses into a new focus. This vault is a hyper-awareness of my own disease. How am I doing, Kate?
Time-wise?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
You're at 11 minutes.
There you go. I needed that. I didn't know where
Okay.
the phone was.
All right. This the last line on this one always gets a good laugh. So since I'm really up here for the laughs, this is called reflexive. Tell me after I'm out of air. A permanent change adopted during confession. Anything you create while reading this is my intellectual property, and you creep me out. I'll have to change it now. Like a TV show. I could change it. This one's called A Question of Progress. And I'll maybe go back. Nothing turns itself on, but burnt synapses rewired. We've been through a restoration. We're sold the house already on fire and could never put it out. These days I want more to be silenced than to acknowledge pressure that builds behind the left eye, hemorrhaging over the page. This one was just out, I think, in the Alice Blue Review. This is called Rapture. I find myself using more religious-y titles, which is weird because I feel like I'm getting less religious. Maybe that's a thing. Speaking binds us to the words we use, even misconstrued ones, or worse, words heard and interpreted incorrectly. Speech sets thought into permanent space. I'll end with a couple of poems back. This is called Relationship Quarantine. There's a generic statement they could make. I have no mouth to speak of or tones to speak with. The fists have gambled with many a lock and lost. I was told this generation would be built for the massacres ahead. If you saw this permanent cloud, you'd be wondering where the hell the fog had gone. I got billed for my own fantasy. Another moment in the middle of a movie where I could have walked out or cried myself to dungeons. I'm a prisoner like a steel beam holding these transoms. I was going to be dead when I grew up, or the answer to saturation. We'll do two more, if no one minds. This is called Tasteful Abdication. Your new gaze reminds me of an air I cannot help but breathe. It's the final suffocation that means the most to me. Ultimately, we're an affirmation of all the things we've said, the things that sting which we cannot familiarize ourselves with unless we reabsorb our words in new arrangements. Your enumerations are lusting after my lettering. And like a good beginning to an album, there should be a good end to an album. This one's called Genius Optimist and is based off another article I read about kids who do really well. You could predict future success based on some test in which they are given like Oreos or marshmallows. I have marshmallows in the poem, but I don't remember really. In which they're asked to wait. They're told if you can wait for X minutes, you can have 2 of them. People know what I'm okay. I see a lot of nodding. If it's not marshmallows, don't tell me. So anyway, this is about that, I guess. And this is called Genius Optimism. Thank you all so much for coming out. I waited all day because I knew. This is how I think. I won't ring the bell and they are watching me. These are the indicators as far as I know. Marshmallows, paraffin wax. I was told I'd never need to worry. This is what monotony always sounded like. Thank you all.